Hello, everybody. Brad Logan alongside Ben Garrett, Jay Thompson, about to join us here in just a moment. We're hear from a lot of people today, including head coach Mike Bianco. And Ben, today, it's all about Ole Miss and Nebraska Cornhuskers in their regional in Nebraska. It's going to be a lot of fun up in a couple of days.
Welcome, everybody, to Talking Champions. I'm Ben. He's Brad. The Ole Miss Spirit is the website that we both write for. That QR code on your screen above Brad's head is for the Ole Miss Spirit. Scan it. Join us today for $1, the low price of $1. And after a 5-day free trial or a 5-day $1 trial, you get to it switches over to an annual sub. But we'd love for y'all to try us out. Thank y'all for coming in. And yeah, Brad, it's a obviously big day for Ole Miss baseball, Ole Miss athletics in general. Ole Miss is in the NCAA tournament. They're not hosting. We knew that was going to happen after they lost to Missouri in the SEC tournament. But still, when you look at this team and the draw that it got, it's a tough draw, but all draws are tough. And I think Ole Miss is ready to go to Nebraska.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Some great questions today, and we'll hear from Mike in just a moment about not hosting a regional here in Oxford, about how he wish it were here in Oxford. But I think the biggest thing today is we heard from leaders on this team. And at the end of the tough loss to Alabama when Ole Miss was essentially going to be a host spot, we heard from Will Furness, we heard from Judge Udemar, Hunter Elliott, the core of the team. And there was a quiet confidence today, I think, Ben. I don't know. We'll get your thoughts and Jake's too. It's a bit of a quiet confidence. But this team has been through highs and lows all year. And one thing that's been very impressive to me is they never get too high, but they never get too low. And I do think that's big going into the game at Husker Stadium. I think it's Husker Stadium. At the end of the day, this is going to be an SEC-type atmosphere. It's an 8,500 seat stadium. It's a very, very big ballpark. The power alleys are 400, 390, 400. So it's a big ballpark, and it's going to be a situation where Ole Miss is going to need to pitch it well. And, Mike was asked, as we're here in a moment, who's going to go on the mound. He's not sure. But this is a very veteran team. It's a team with a lot of senior leadership, if you will, and a team that's ready to roll on the mound. They've had plenty of opportunities to get ready. They talked a lot about the time exiting the SEC tournament, and Mike basically will say here in just a moment how it's a blessing in disguise. And I think a lot of teams will say that have that extra practice heading into NCAA regional play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And one thing, when I look at the draw and from the stuff we learned today, the two biggest takeaways for me are, one, what you already mentioned, which is that they haven't decided on who's going to be the starter for Friday. Ole Miss and Arizona State, the 2 and 3 seeds in this Lincoln, Nebraska regional. It's just the Lincoln regional. I want to say Nebraska regional. The Lincoln regional. I think it'll end up being, I don't know, Kate Townsend or Taylor Ray. But I think they'll hold Hunter is what I think will happen. Maybe they don't. Maybe they feel that they want to keep Hunter, who is well rested on his regular start pattern, his regular start schedule. And Arizona State, like someone told me, one of the players told me today, hadn't seen anything like Hunter Elliott if he does throw on Friday. They're a confident team. And the second takeaway is that this team, I agree with you, this wouldn't seem like a team that had a disappointing end, right? Because let's be real here. They lost, I want to say, 9 of their last 14 games, including a first-round exit of the SEC tournament when there was what we thought was hosting on the line. But now that the tournament's come out, I mean, one read from the bracket is that, come on now, I don't think they really gave any kind of credence to the SEC tournament. If Ole Miss would have won the Georgia series or won the Arkansas series, they're probably hosting. And then if they were, that'd been the first time in history that the 3 Mississippi schools were hosting. But even with that disappointment, from the conversation on and off the record today, there's a confidence about them, and there should be. And they get, like when I was asking one player about Nebraska and what they expect, said, look, we played Ohio State. That's a team that won 18 games in that league this year, and this team won 20, and we beat up on them pretty good. We feel like this is a team that is equipped to go to Nebraska and get out of it. Let's sure hope so, because the disappointment of not hosting was certainly there.
We heard from the committee chair during the selection show that happened earlier today, which Ole Miss was not one of the teams that was featured. I thought that was interesting, that they didn't have a quote-unquote party. But obviously they were in, and they knew that. One thing that I felt was interesting was the committee chair talked about the number one metric for Ole Miss was the strength of schedule. And at one point during this season, it was, I think, number 2 or 3 at the latter part of the season. So Ole Miss had that strength of schedule metric. Also, the Q3 and 4, they didn't have a landmine all year. Here's a disappointing thing if you're an Ole Miss fan. The metrics were fantastic for Ole Miss. I mean, they were absolutely fantastic. But you can't beat Mississippi State on Friday. you can't beat Georgia on Saturday, and you fail to get that big win against Arkansas, and you fail to get the big win against Alabama. It was right there, and you only have yourself to blame. And I think that's what's unfortunate for Ole Miss, is that the metrics so much were in your favor, but you couldn't get the big win.
That's a really good point. And so, like, if you look at by the number, if you take away just the Ole Miss feelings of it, if you objectively or just try to look at it objectively at the resume, strong resume, you see where they fell short. You listed off wins that would have resulted in their hosting. If you're an Ole Miss fan, while disappointing today, this team has proven they can go toe-to-toe with anybody. It has belief that it can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Will Furness, when I was talking to him off to the side, he said that to me specifically. He was like, yeah, I mean, honestly, we're kicking ourselves just because we thought we thought we could sweep Georgia, let alone lose the series, even though that's the best offense in baseball, one of the most historically good baseball teams offensively ever, with the best offensive catcher ever, and you're not paired with that regional. So if Ole Miss gets out of Lincoln, which it's a tough regional, sure, but they're confident and they're practicing behind us. You see us. There's the Rebels for you. They're getting ready for this Lincoln, Nebraska regional coming up. They're paired with Auburn instead. Now Auburn's a good baseball team, but I mean Ole Miss and what they went through. Like, don't let it get lost that while it's disappointing to be a 2 seed, how they played an historically difficult schedule, still came out of it, played really well. Got the 2 seed, fell short, yes, and that is a bummer, and Ole Miss needs to be hosting regionals. But for this team specifically, in this draw specifically, it's better than I thought it would be, and I still have confidence in this group, assuming that Hunter is Hunter. And he hasn't been Hunter all that often this year. He did in his last start, but he hasn't typically been Hunter. If Hunter goes out there and stuffs in his post-game, big game Hunter, like they call him out there, and I mean, even if it's Arizona State or on Saturday, this team's going to have a real shot. It's all about how they go about that first game draw, how they strategically go about it, and if they can get out of it. You go to the loser's bracket, it's going to be damn near impossible in my opinion, but I think this team is well equipped to lead from the front in that way if they can get that first game. But here's Mike Bianco. This is Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett. Here's Brad Logan. That QR code above Brad's head is for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of On3. Sign up today for $1. Try us out 5 days, then it switches to an annual sub. We'd love to have you. Our thanks to Riverland Roofing, riverlandroofing.com, 662-644-4297. Riverland Roofing powers everything we do here at Talk of Champions and a lot of what we do at the Ole Miss Spirit. Our thanks, of course, you saw the C-Spire banner. They've been with us for a while now. Advanced Technology Solutions at cspire.com. C-Spire, customer-inspired game day haircuts. Hearn Law Firm, College Corner, Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group, just on and on. Alan Samuels, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford, who I just bought a car from. So shouts out to Mason and Brian. I've been in their offices for a week. I know they're tired of hearing and seeing me, but they're good Ole Miss people. So if you're looking for your next car, truck, or Jeep, you need the place to go. Friends that'll take care of you, because I hate the car buying process. Hate it. Still hate it. Love my friends. Hate the process. They made it as seamless as it could be. And Mason is just a genuinely great human being that wanted to take care of me and my family. So I want to give a shout out to them.
I have a quick message, too, from Greta Morgan at Alan Samuels, Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. She wants you to come by as soon as possible if you're in the need of a vehicle, and she will take care of you. She said she will take care of Ole Miss fans and ask for Greta Morgan. But, yeah, I mean, Mason, Brian, the entire team, great people at Alan Samuels, Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram.
Before we jump to Mike Bianco, Ole Miss head coach, who we just briefly talked to, well, it's never brief with Mike. You know, if you can ask him 2 questions, he's going to talk for 7 minutes. But Mike was great today. I thought gave some really insightful questions. I asked him about Hunter being the last remaining guy for the 2022 national championship team. He's like, well, me and Hunter, which I got a kick out of. And then we start naming like other coaches, Clem and laughing them. But you're going to hear from him. And I think he mentioned they've had a good week of practice. After the disappointing Missouri stuff, they've had good weeks of practice. The rest matters, I think. They're well rested. And this team looks well equipped. But this is interesting before we jump to Mike. Interesting stat for the regionals. Ole Miss has the best ERA in the regional, according to @Titans_Mafia in the chat. The best ERA in the regional, but also the worst statistical hitting team in the regional. These are good offense. This is more about how good the offensive draw or the offense is in the field offense is in comparison to like Ole Miss being less than. This is just a really good offensive group.
And let me get this stat out real quick, or it's not a stat. It's just something we need to talk about before we get to Mike. Ole Miss is a long ball hitting team. Everybody knows that with Judd Udemark, Will Furness, Austin Fawley, and Tristan Becerra. Something to talk about. Hawks Field in Nebraska, the field dimensions, left field is 335. Left center is 403. Center field is 395. Right center power alley is 400. And right field line is 325. This is a very deep park.
Except at the corner, so burn and turn.
Yeah.
I
It's a
told that
big,
to
big
Fern down there
ballpark.
too. I was like, "Hey, Burn, when you get to burn and turn, beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Like let it turn." And now you're telling me the corners are 320? Heck yeah! But those alleys, 403 and 400.
Yeah, power alleys are huge. So
And they have to face a top pitcher in the country in game one. Jacob Holloway is absolutely correct.
he's legit. Yeah,
It always is like this in regionals,
Always.
especially if you're the 2 seed. That first game,
you just got to get to 2-0.
you get to 2-0.
That's it. Get to 2-0.
We say that, and Ole Miss has done that before. It had Bloody Mondays. Let's not get back into that. This is Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. He's Brad Logan at Brad Logan COTE. I didn't know what COT stood for until like 2 days ago, by the way.
Where you been?
I don't know. I thought it was like some oil and gas thing. It
No.
doesn't matter. This is Mike Bianco, Ole Miss head coach. This is Talk of Champions.
Everybody's going to talk about how good their regional is, and obviously I think this is one. Don't know much in fairness about the other clubs, and barely glanced at them, but probably more of Arizona State because that's who we play. And good. The Power 5. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. Power 4 autonomy type school, but certainly a big ace on the mound, and one of the best offensive players in the country, and so a really good offense. 108 home runs. We don't play a lot of people that have more home runs than us, so team that certainly is going to be a big challenge for us.
Hunter's the last remaining guy from the 2022 national title team. Having that guy and that experience, what does that mean going to the postseason, if anything, and having him leading into the regional, just that what it could bring?
And I don't think it's just that. I mean, certainly he's, me and him, right? We're the last two.
The last two.
And I'm teasing. No, it's great, but I think beyond that, more than the championship, I think, the leadership, somebody that's been here and not just through that run, but has seen, all sides of it, right? From an injury standpoint, from the side, side where we weren't good, and he's grown a lot. I think, he would admit, and that's one of the cool things we've talked about it, as a coach, to watch guys grow up, and to watch him grow up, not just as a player, but certainly as a leader, in the program, and a guy that I know Joel counts on a lot, with the pitching staff. But I think throughout, one of the cool things for me is, regardless of how he pitches on Friday night, when he comes out of the game, the way he is in the dugout and the way he's respected, the remaining innings on Friday and on Saturday and Sunday, I think it has a huge effect.
With Cade, how big was it for him maybe not to have thrown last week and get that rest, which is how his SEC season kind of went? Nobody knows. Well, it's one of those things that you'll look back on and hope that was kind of that blessing in disguise, if you will. And we talked about it. You go there to win. You go there to play well and perform. And so when that doesn't go well, you hope that it's going to help, have the reverse effect where you kind of get your legs back underneath you. Some of the guys that maybe needed a little bit of a break. So for him personally, I think it's not necessarily a bad thing. For us as a team collectively, I think we had a good week. Once you got past that and you woke up on Wednesday, we inter-squadded on Wednesday, a couple more practices, and then another inter-squad yesterday. So the guys that didn't throw all through, some of those guys threw Wednesday and Sunday. I think we got enough at bats, enough live ABs. I mean, we looked really good yesterday, swinging the bat against basically all the arms except for the starters and Calhoun. And so I thought it was a good week for us. Obviously we'd have liked to still be playing, but I think the guys, the mindset, once we got back was a good one, and we got some good work done.
You ever been to Lincoln, Nebraska?
No, I have not. Seen it years ago, when Dave, Van Horn was there and they were doing so well. I clicked on the stadium, in all honesty, Wikipedia, it's kind of, what it looks like. And but I've heard a lot of good things. I know Chris Cleary, our director of ops, has played in the stadium and talked about the atmosphere, and then Will Bolt, was on the ESPN show talking about it. And, I think a great crew,
are great crowds and something I think we're excited about. It's one of those stadiums that I think is going to be rocking. This weekend.
Kentucky getting a ton of national seeds. Is it nice to see the SEC get that level of recognition? Really, outside of Arkansas hosting, kind of got a lot of elevated standing.
Yeah, and I don't think it's any different than most years. And you guys look into it more than we do. I mean, we're kind of in our own bubble, and we're worried about ourselves. That's kind of life in the SEC, right? You better not worry about anybody else. You better worry about yourself. And there's always going to be I think that section of fans, people, conferences, but until you spend a few weeks or 10 weeks in this league, you realize how difficult it is and what a tough league it is. And so again, a lot of hosts, a lot of teams in, and I would think very deserving.
Please tell me if this is dumb, but is there any kind of niceness about going on the road and having the structure of hotel, stadium? I heard some softball coaches say maybe they limit distractions or something.
If you're comparing it, would you rather be home? I think we would all rather be home, and probably including those softball coaches, and probably the ones that said it are the ones that are going on the road, right? And so, at the end of the day, I'd rather not say it that way. I'd rather say that I think what this league does to you, and we're just talking about it, is it equips you for that, right? That we've played in the biggest stadiums in front of the largest crowds, and you hope that prepares you. And I'd like to think that the SEC prepares you to do this. But at the end of the day, you have to play well. And so, and that's life in the SEC. If you don't play well, you've heard me say it all year long. If you don't play well, you lose. Well, guess what? That's what the way it is in a regional. If you don't play well, your season's over. And so, I don't know if I totally agree with the comments of that softball coach, but I get it. I get that you can lock in and we've done it before, obviously, and but it takes a special group, a special team. But the most important thing is you have to play well.
Nebraska's played in the early game. I don't think you've ever done that, but have you gotten a little more into a conversation about what to do at times when you've hosted? Is that even a conversation?
Again, that's everybody's choice. We like doing it that way because we think it's fair to the crowd. The people don't have to sit in 90-degree temperatures here more than they have to, and I get it. I understand it, and there's a lot of people in the Southeast that do it. Again, it's your choice as the host site, and you get to make that choice. So we're playing at night as the 2 seed.
Do you know if you'll throw Hunter yet?
Nah, we'll decide that probably later tonight or tomorrow. Joel didn't get a chance to see too much, and so we'll reconvene again. We talked a little bit about it, right before practice, but we'll talk more about it and promise to try to get it out to everybody as soon as we can.
That was Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco and Jake. We were in the room. First of all, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Do you have your traveling shoes on because you're headed to Lincoln? We're excited about that.
I decided to pack the bags and make sure we have somebody up there. Chance to maybe not have to spend a lot of money in Auburn. Made that decision a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But I've never been to Lincoln, and asked a couple guys, Cade and Hunter, before we had our big scrums. Said, hey, this is a dumb question, but did y'all even think about you're like 55 minutes away from where you'd like to be in a couple weeks?
Yeah.
And Cade said I think his parents joked about it, and Hunter decided to give the old good sports writer headline of maybe it's kind of destiny or fate or whatever he said. Yeah. So they thought about it. It's a little weird. You're starting just right there. And I think, for Hunter, I think he said his parents stayed in Lincoln because of the hotel situation throughout that 11-day, time 4 years ago. So it'll be fun. It's a historical program. It's not the historical field. It's a newer field, but it's a good program up there, and it's going to be fun. And as y'all talked about, it's a field that's reminiscent to Trustmark and Hoover. I mean, it's big outfields, big alleys, which it's not the worst thing if Hunter or other guys are having a rough night, that the odds for home runs are not there.
I actually went to Lincoln. I stayed there. I was like Hunter Hill. I stayed in Lincoln too whenever Ole Miss went to Omaha because I couldn't get a room. Or excuse me, I didn't want to pay $2,000 a night. What do you remember about Omaha on your trip, and what do you remember about the state of Nebraska and like food and culture and that sort of thing?
I remember I packed, not for 11 days. I had to learn how a hotel washer and dryer works at the media hotel. And but no, it was fun. Obviously, for me, it's a Midwest. It's steakhouses. So I think Ben joined us at a steakhouse there when he got there. So no, it was fun. Good food. I liked Omaha. It was like a compact, downtown. It was real nice, walkable, and it was fun. Never been to Lincoln, so it'll be interesting to see what that's like. So I'm excited about that ballpark and everything. But no, it's not the worst place for them to go if you sit there and kind of break it all down. I think it's a 3-team race. I think South Dakota State is not a Murray State, and we all know what that means from last year as a 4 seed. So it'll be a good test. But I think also them getting the super regional they got paired with it's not the worst case scenario either.
Let's talk about the conversation that we all had with Mike Bianco. And I thought he was, I don't know if good's the right word, Jake, but he felt a little loose. He was asked a question about going on the road versus playing at home, and I thought he answered it perfectly. Hey, we'll play the hands that were dealt, the cards that were dealt. Your thoughts on the conversation we had with Mike Bianco today?
Yeah, it was good. He felt, he got asked, right off the top, just thoughts on the regional field, and I think every coach, he was right, is going to say that regional's tough, coach speak, but he hesitated a little bit. And I don't know if that was him trying to find the right coach speak to say, or if he actually is kind of a little ominous about the field of 4 that he was put with Arizona State and Nebraska. When you got 3 Power 4 teams and 1 regional, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So it is a tough one, but as we saw, it's RPI-wise, it's not the toughest. It's like second to lowest or highest, I guess, RPI average of like 70-something. And ironically, Auburn is the lowest or highest right below them. So it's a tough field, but you're right. I think the home thing hurts a little bit. They had their opportunities. They had chances. As we saw, basically they were 1 win away, needed it from an Alabama State, Georgia, Arkansas. I mean, they had their opportunities to get that 1 more win, if not more, and be playing here in a handful of days instead of hitting the road. And obviously speeds up their timeline, have to leave and then go do all that, get there for practice on Thursday. So I think they're okay with it. I think being home this last week has made that taste feel a little bit more okay. Obviously they want to play, but I think if you're Ole Miss, I think you saw what Arkansas did, made it to yesterday, and it didn't matter for them. And Arkansas beat Ole Miss and probably had a better, in certain areas, metrics, and still didn't overtake State to host. So, who knows if that would have mattered if they spent all week their arms and throwing in 1 more game for a lot of guys instead of resting for what's going to be, I think, 10 days in between actual games from last Tuesday to Friday. So I think there's a lot of positives, and it may sound like silver lining, looking for the positives, but I think they are there, and I think it suits them well to have had this time off.
That very last question was asked, will Hunter Elliott roll out there on Friday night? Jake, this is just my opinion just from watching this team. I'm not sure I wouldn't throw Taylor Ray on Friday night. Just my thoughts, your thoughts on possibility of throwing Hunter Elliott. Obviously, Mike didn't answer the question. He said that Joel had a chance to kind of go through some different metrics that he looks at. So, but he did say that he would let everybody know as soon as possible. Your thoughts on who will throw Friday?
Yeah, he alluded to the fact that Joel hadn't been around or wasn't around this weekend, or he said he didn't see much. I'm guessing he meant I think they had a live scrimmage yesterday or inter-squad yesterday. So they didn't have a chance to talk until a little bit today before Mike spoke with us. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's still Hunter, but it sounds like there may at least be a conversation, or at least that's what he's alluding to us, that there may be a conversation. So to me, I think that for those who are wanting to see a rotation change a little bit, and then now you've got options. These are your only 2 games you're guaranteed now, Friday and Saturday. So you've got the options of Rave and Hunter. I think K pitches game 2, honestly, if it's me. And then it's Hunter or Rave pitch game 1, and then if there is a 3rd game or whenever that 3rd game might come, you pitch the one who didn't pitch Friday. And that's how I would do it. But we'll see what happens.
Whatever you do, you have to get to 2-0, and that is the magic number for any team in the regional. Do you like the draw?
It's tough. I mean, Nebraska, it's a tough team, but I don't think they played the teams week in, week out that Ole Miss has played. I've said this to a lot of people that once the SEC tournament and the regular season's done, and whoever makes it in the SEC out to the regionals, I think the SEC overall is going to have a really good weekend this weekend because they're not going to be beating up on themselves. They're going to play at some of the top teams, top players, top competition. And so I think Ole Miss is more suited now for what they just went through these last 10 weekends and the 1 game in Hoover.
They'll obviously face Arizona State on Friday night. It's on ESPN2. Kyle Peterson will have the call. I think it's 8 o'clock Eastern?
8 o'clock on, no, 8 Central.
8 Central. Okay, so it'll be 9
ESPN2.
Eastern on
That,
ESPN2.
the TV slot got them that late night starting. Nebraska opted to play first.
Yep, we heard Mike talk about that a little bit ago.
And they're not even on TV. They got put on the app. So they value this Ole Miss Arizona State matchup.
And speaking of Arizona State, 19 conference wins. But last I checked, Jake, the metrics are not great for Arizona State. I think their strength of schedule is not great. Their RPI is not great. I think at their level of competition. Looking at this team, I'll ask you a question that I asked Kate Townsend. Where's this team at the beginning of the year? As we saw them in Texas versus where they are now. What have you seen out of this team?
I think pitching-wise, you feel better. I think you feel really better or really good with the 10 days off, basically the rest, not throwing last weekend. I don't think they're upset. They didn't play past Tuesday, if you want my honest opinion, after they had time to think about it. So I think the three guys we just talked about, Rave, Townsend, and Hunter, and at the start of SEC, you didn't have Rave. It was, a Libbard in there. So Rave has grown into a really good arm, and so good that we're sitting here talking about should he be a Friday guy when he was the Sunday guy. So I think from that regard, you feel good. The biggest question is going to be is what offense travels against the pitching that they're going to face in Lincoln. We've seen all year they've had the arms to keep them in a low-scoring game, and the offense just can't. They score a home run or hit a home run in the first inning, and then they go silent for about 4 or 5 innings. So they can't have that. They need this offense that can be good. We saw in April how good it can be on that run. That's got to travel with the rested arms. That's the recipe.
You talk about the offense, a home run leader in the history of Ole Miss baseball is Judge Unumar. We had a chance to visit with Judge just a little bit ago. Here's what he had to say about the big weekend upcoming in the Nebraska Regional in Nebraska.
Judd, and obviously I wanted to stay in over longer than you did, but on the backside of it, you feel like that extra week of just downtime here is going to pay dividends this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, we obviously wanted to play in Hoover as long as we could, but now that's out of our control, unfortunately. But now we're just focused on how do we get better, how do we win a regional, and just keep advancing.
What are your initial thoughts on the draw?
I love it. I've never been to Lincoln, Nebraska, so I think, there's a lot of history there in that ballpark. I'm curious to see how it plays. I don't know the dimensions or how the field plays, but it's nothing that we can't handle. We have a lot of confidence going in there.
It's worth asking, you got any high school connections or, I played with that guy or this guy or anything from the region?
Yeah, no, I don't have anything. Obviously, Luke Hill played at Arizona State, so that's really the only connection I have. South Dakota State, I don't know anybody. Nebraska, I don't know anybody. And then, obviously us. So.
Yeah, you probably know them pretty well.
Yeah, that's right.
SEC obviously very well represented. What is the level of extra confidence just coming out of this league when you get into the tournament play now?
Yeah, I really like how the regional's set up where 2 conference teams can't be in the same one. I think it not only helps the viewership and seeing competitive atmosphere between different conferences, but it's a lot of fun playing in that. Nebraska, we didn't get to play them this year in the regular season. Now we get to face off against them. So I really like it. Obviously we have a lot of confidence going in there after playing an entire season in the best conference in America. So we're looking forward to how that pans out.
They've got one of the better non-SEC environments in the league. It's going to be full. It's 8,500 or something like that. Do you enjoy the little more? We don't have to bring your own energy, and you do get a little bit more atmosphere in the ballpark when you're on the road.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe there's an element of that. But no matter if we were playing in a backyard stadium or whether we were playing in Omaha, we're going to come with a lot of juice and a lot of energy to play. It's postseason, so obviously this is my last ride, and I can't wait to get it started.
How do you think this year's team, if so, is better positioned than last year's team to make a run here?
Yeah, and I don't want to speak bad about last year's team because we had a great squad. I think this year it's just the pitching depth. We've seen it all year of the guys that we can roll out there that we trust, that are consistent, week in and week out. And just that level of consistency and depth is what I'm most excited about.
What's kind of the key between now and when you leave to do in these next few days to get right?
I think it's a plethora of things. One is getting your mind right, and sometimes that means not thinking about it as much and just playing your game. Obviously, we have a couple of days to improve and get better as a unit with practice and lifting and hydration and everything that comes with the sport. So I think one, maybe a little mental reset and realizing, hey, we're going to Lincoln, Nebraska, we're going to be playing these teams, but then also just physically preparing to get out there and work.
As we hear the music behind us, man, that was Judd Udemark in the cavernous Husker Field. I'm not saying that wrong. What's the name of the damn field?
It's got to be something like that. But yeah, one thing I appreciate Jake stepping in and giving his thoughts. He'll be in Lincoln, Nebraska, covering the full regional live in person. Hawksfield. Okay. Anyway. He'll be live from Lincoln, and I appreciate him coming on and joining us today to kind of set the stage for that. We're going to have live shows and all that. You heard from Judd, who's, like Brad said, Ole Miss's new home run king. And as Jake and you were talking, I was watching Judd take batting practice. And I hadn't seen an Ole Miss baseball practice in so long. I forgot how much I love baseball practice more than baseball games themselves. And that man just put on a light tower power show.
Will Furnish did.
You see this little tower out here by the blue, by the blue?
Seeing eye center field.
Yeah, yeah. All right, whatever was on that just got destroyed by a ball Judd hit. I mean, it just splattered everywhere. He had one that went up like 3 rows deep over here and left. This team, Jake touched on something that I think is important. This is a tough regional. Who Ole Miss will face on Friday, regardless of who Ole Miss starts, will be a difficult pitcher. Arizona State is capable and could have very well had an argument to be a 2 seed somewhere. It's going to be tough. But don't let it be lost that, and I mentioned this to Will Furniss, yes, it is disappointing, and Ole Miss should always be hosting regionals. But if you just look at this season through the lens of the toughest schedule in baseball, Ole Miss equipped itself well. It fell short, make no mistake about it. But in the postseason, they will face no one, especially in this regional first, that is any better than the teams and schedules they just got through running the gauntlet through. They're prepared for postseason play. Now, will that lead to them getting out of this regional and going to a super at Auburn unless Auburn doesn't get their regional and then Ole Miss would host a super here? I don't know. I think that's fantastical. But I could see this team not necessarily winning 10 out of 11 like 2022, but I do think that regardless of the draw was better than I thought it was, and this team is battle tested in that way. You wanted to see them host, and Ole Miss should always be hosting, but taking that short-term disappointment away and that loss of significant revenue for Oxford that always needs to be there every single May, early June, taking that away, there is nobody that Ole Miss is going to play that is any better than the schedule and gauntlet they just ran through. And this team, again, equipped itself well. Losing 9 of 14 is disappointing. Being a 2 is disappointing. But this team, I still think, has the makings of another postseason Omaha contender. I think more so than any of the last 4 teams. Certainly the last 4 teams. But since the 2022 run, better equipped than even that 2022 team was going into the postseason. That was the last team named the NCAA tournament field. They won 10 of 11, right? This team belongs. It deserves to be in. The question is, will it be able to get out of a tough regional? I would argue that depending on how Friday goes, of course, if they set up Friday right and get out of it, I think there can be some magic for this Ole Miss team yet. And they showed you some time. Like, I believe in Judd Udemark. I believe in Will Furniss. I know what it means to them. I know they give a crap. And I'm excited to see them go on this run.
And I think if you look at this team, if they can get past Arizona State.
We're being quiet because Mike's over there talking to the team.
We want to respect that.
We don't want them to hear our stupid butts talking. We want them to hear.
He's much more important than us.
Also, 5 would probably look up here and be like,
yeah, I looked over there to see, and he said he has not looked up here yet,
okay,
so
good.
we're good.
Then we're good.
What I wanted to say is if Ole Miss can get past Arizona State, which are going to face one of their top pitchers, then you would face, if Nebraska can win its game. The key, man, is all about getting to 2-0. And if you can win the regional, then you start talking about, well, who are you pulling for over on the Plains? And you've got Auburn, Milwaukee is the 4 seed, NC State is the 3, and UCF is the 2. Those are 2 really good 2 and 3 seeds. Mm-hmm. So if UCF or NC State were to come out of that regional at Auburn, then that means Ole Miss would host here in Oxford in 2 weeks.
I feel like we're hosting an NPR show now because Mike Bianco is over there talking to the team.
Not only that, there's a beautiful drive over to the 8th tee, Jim, and if he can get the approach and get it close, he can win the PGA Championship.
It's a useful shot. A useful shot. Oh, just unbelievable approach there from from
the
Rory.
the drive right down the
Off
park.
that 7 box is just fantastic. It's got it. Hey, Dottie, do you see where the ball is on the right side? So, yeah, I mean, you want to
Well,
get
now
to
they're broken up, so we can talk a little bit more.
Yeah, we can
now.
talk a little.
Okay,
So 2-0 is obviously where you want to get to, and your matchup against the Auburn Regional. And once again, I kind of come back to this. This team is full of leaders.
I miss you, CJ. Good to see you, man. That's our resident LSU fan. That's always been good, man.
This team is full of leaders.
They just broke it down over
when
there,
you talk
too.
about
Fire me
Will
up.
Furness and Judd Udemark and Hunter Elliott. And by the way, we talked a moment ago, Ben. You just heard Mike. He did not say anything about Hunter being the number one pitcher. I've said all along. I told Jake I would start. I'd
throw Rabe.
I would throw Rabe too.
I'd throw
And,
Rabe
you know,
on
nobody
Friday.
asked me, but Taylor Rabe would be my Friday night guy.
I would throw him against Arizona State, turn around, throw Cade the second day, and then throw Hunter to close the thing. I mean, big game Hunter for a chance to punch your ticket. That's the way you want to go.
If you get to 2-0, then you can start talking about throwing Cade and then being J.P. Robertson. You got Walker Hooks that can come in.
I just think you save for multiple reasons. You save the Hunter bullet because one.
So you would throw him game 3.
I would wait. I would try to get up 2-0, and I think that Rabe on Friday and then Townsend on Saturday gives you the best chance to get to 2-0, and then let Hunter do what Hunter does in the postseason. Because let's be real here, there are some other considerations as well. Taylor Rabe and Cade have been more consistently good this year than Hunter. Has not been quite.
I mean, to be fair though, now Cade has had his ups and downs the last couple of weeks.
True, but regardless, it's Rabe for me on Friday. And then whoever you want to go with Saturday, you can't really make the wrong choice because, again, you got a first-round pick then going on day 3. I just think Rabe on Friday makes a ton of sense because I think
I agree.
Yeah, I like his swing and miss stuff. You're facing really good offenses. This is a
big ballpark.
Big ballpark.
A lot of fly balls.
Yeah. So, but it's not we don't have the Sharpie. I'm holding one, but we don't have the Sharpie. That's up to Mike. And they got burned by trying to hold a pitcher, going into the SEC tournament. Get a start from Will Liberty against the 16 seed. He didn't give it to you. You got burnt. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want this is now losing. This is just like that as loser go home. You can't take any risk like that. So, like, it's a 1-game season starting Saturday. It's not a 1-game season on Friday. Friday's just about getting off to the good start. If it were me, I'd start Rabe and then try to get to you want to go undefeated in the regional and get out of it. And I think the best way to do that is start Rabe on Friday. I'm surprised. This has been a baseball show here at Swayze Field live, talking champions. I'm Ben Garrett.
Go ahead, but I was going to ask you.
Brad Logan. The QR code on your screens for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate on 3. Sign up for $1. Try us out. An annual sub. It switches over to an annual sub in 5 days. But for $1, you get to try us out for 5 days. We'd love to have you at the Ole Miss Spirit. If you want to help us out the most, sign up for the Ole Miss Spirit. That's how you can help us the most. But also, sponsor the podcast if you want to as well. That QR code right there. There you go. That's for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com. Our thanks to Riverland Roofing and B&A Bank and Drew Moke of USA Benefits Group, Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Vox. We're going to play those commercials for you. Let's play them right now because I want to talk about what we thought our Monday show was going to be about, which is some football nonsense again. We're not talking about the X's and O's. We're not talking about, by the way, great job with Ari the other day. It's under that folder. Good job with Ari the other day. You were fair. You were honest. And I thought Ari was really, I thought he was.
Homes and businesses from the whims of nature.
Remove it for now.
My bad. Excuse me. I was trying to run the computer.
He's trying to learn how to be the producer at the same time, too. Mason said, Ben, you're always doing stuff. I said, yeah. But for me, it's nothing. For Brad, he doesn't know yet. I wanted to say he's going to play for you.
I need that. While we're thinking about it, I need that file. Well, I need that file.
You need a tutorial on how to do it clean. Don't stop touching my stuff. Okay. I'm going to say this. Last week, some things were said. You want to set the table before we jump to the commercials about this football stuff? Because everybody's gone. We're the only people left here. The team has gone inside. It's time to talk about football before we wrap this up. All right. Last week was something in football for me.
Look, I'm just going to call it like it is.
Okay. I want you to set the table because I don't want to go all bent on this thing.
At some point, I joke when you talk about the NCAA and Ross Bjork and telling our side of the story, which is just
the days of exemplary cooperation are over.
Now, I wouldn't think that would be applied here. Ben, I want to ask you a question. This is a very much rhetorical question. What happened after the 2015 season? What did Ole Miss do of significance?
Went to the Sugar Bowl.
That's right. What happened in that Sugar Bowl?
Beat the crap out of Oklahoma State.
And what happened after that?
The NCAA.
Ben, let's fast forward roughly 10 years. Where did Ole Miss play this year? And big game, wasn't it?
Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, what happened?
Beat Georgia.
Ooh, SEC Georgia. Big logo. What happened after that?
NCAA leaks out to its national lemmings that an investigation's been open. The investigation's been open. Here's the thing, though. They asked for imaging and cell phones and this, that, and the other. It's 2026.
Good luck with that.
See you in court.
Yeah.
Ole Miss beat your ass in court recently. You want to go again? Also, it ain't like that. Clean up your own house before you try to start cleaning up everybody else's house. So the point is this: Luke Ferrelli signed financial grant and aid papers, all right, with Clemson. None of it is binding. This is the Wild West. We've all been saying this. Ole Miss re-signed Prince Willie Monmielen, Devin Harper. Essentially the same stuff we're talking about, financial grant and aid papers, because the hard truth is that there are no protections for schools in this environment. Zero. In the NFL and any professional, that treats them like what they are, which is professionals, right? If a dude signs a contract, decides, man, I want to jump on a motorcycle and be dumb, right? Crashes that motorcycle, something happens, and it costs him a season. There are repercussions contractually for that. There are no protections for the organization in this case being Ole Miss or any school, if these kids do whatever the hell they want, right? So Ole Miss understands that environment, and rather than, yell into the void or try to get gotcha headlines or try to play the media game, it's just sitting on a treasure trove of the exact same bullshit that you've been trying to claim that they've been doing, except on the case of Kejuan Lacey, Devin Harper, Deuce Alexander, Patrick Kudus,
who told us that he was tampered with midway through the season. So, I mean, to me, it's
I don't
just
know,
ludicrous.
Joseph Moore. Is this the part we've been waiting on to the receipts start getting shown? No, because it's nothing new. I think Neil McCready put it best, man. Neil writes a 10 weekends thoughts piece every weekend for Rebels 247. It's the only thing I read of them, no disrespect. It's just I like reading Neil's 10 thoughts. I think they're good. And he made a really good point. You know what Friday was? And I was trying to think of how to best characterize it. This is perfect, man. All Friday was some FOI requests finally being granted and them getting the information that we all knew to be true. Yeah, the investigation is open. But that sports commission, you remember they were opening an investigation to LSU and this, that, and the other?
That's the CSC or whatever they call it.
There is nothing enforceable that the CSC can do to Ole Miss. Same thing with the NCAA, unless you want to go to court again and get embarrassed. Clean up your own house first. Let's listen to some commercials. We'll be right back. This is Talking Champions.
Homes and businesses from the whims of nature. You need more than just quality materials. You require Riverland Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, Riverland Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what Riverland Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
Hey, Rebels, your truck is here. Ellen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford presents the all-new Ram Rebel. It's Ram, the Rebel way. Send an unmistakable signal. Rebel 24/7. Ram Rebel from your friend in the car business. Ellen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford.
Come by, let's be friends. I'm Warrior Philip Hearn. Raising my family here in Mississippi, I've tried to teach my kids to help others. I learned that from my parents. And as a Mississippi lawyer, I want to help you too. If you're hurt in a traffic accident, 18-wheeler wreck, or have insurance trouble, call 601-720-3541. That's my cell. You call, I'll answer. Let's get started. Make your first call to the Hearn Law Firm today.
Start my weekend.
Own your day on the Network for Connected Living. There's more to see. C-Spire. Customer inspired.
All right, thanks to C-Spire, to Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford, B&A Bank, Game Day Haircuts, Riverland Roofing. This is Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett. He's Brad Logan. We both write and cover Ole Miss for the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, and flip on through that QR code above Brad's spiky hair is for one, the Ole Miss Spirit.
It's not that spiky.
It's not. It's really not. I was about to say, it's really not very spiky.
Everybody's kind of bled over into my hair product, and I've kind of loosened up a little bit.
It looks good, man. At least you put something in your hair instead of letting it look like a freaking mushroom. You know, like Toad from Toad's. Is it Toadstool from Mario Brothers? That little.
I didn't game a whole lot, Ben.
Shocker. Baseball has quieted down behind us. There's really no one out there now. We're wrapping this up, but I wanted to touch on the stuff.
Let's just follow back up on that.
It's a long way of saying, all right, so what comes of this? Honestly, at most.
You believe that at most? You believe Luke Farrelly will suit up for Ole Miss, and there's not a.
Oh, there's no doubt Luke Farrelly can Ole Miss. There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt in your mind that he's going to suit up and play for Ole Miss. You don't think that there's a chance that that he is suspended because of all this nonsense?
No, because if he is,
I don't either. I'm just throwing that out.
Then you're going to get a court injunction that allows him to play as it goes through the courts. Not so unsimilar to Trinidad Chambliss. Brendan Sorsby's trying to do the same thing, but that's for gambling. This is for quote-unquote tampering, which whenever you hear somebody say pre-portal, that's what tampering is. So you kindly ask Patrick Kudus, Cam Franklin, go talk to Cam Franklin about the pre-portaling process. Winnie Watkins. Winnie was all happy to tell you he was getting pre-portaled by Georgia and others back after the Oklahoma win, right? They're in the locker room. He's getting texts from Georgia, and who names it? Who named it? Now, would Winnie be on your side now? Of course not. Winnie's he is who he is. I'm not going to knock kids. He's a kid, and he's got some growing to do. It's a long way of saying, at worst, like I said back when this stuff popped off, when Dabo ran his mouth, the only precedent for this is Kirk Ferentz getting suspended in like 2024 for a game against Sister Mary's Sisters of the Poor. Yeah, I think at worst, people get suspended for a game.
Would you?
But Luke Farrelly's playing for Ole Miss. He's going to play linebacker for Ole Miss, and that's the problem. You made the point, and it sounds a little too woe is me, victimhood bullcrap. Honestly, like, well, Ole Miss wins, and the NCAA comes calling.
It sure has a lot of on the surface to it.
I don't disagree that that's what it looks like. I would simply say Clemson dealt with this before they broke through the glass ceiling. You could say Ole Miss didn't quite break through the glass ceiling because they fell a game short of playing for national championship, winning a national championship for the first time since the 60s. All right, so what do you do then? Just keep winning. Keep winning, because in a world where the only true thing that matters is the money, if you become profitable for them, they leave you alone. Right now, they want to act like you're still the little upstart. Like Ari said on the podcast for you, the little upstart
Andy
story.
Said the same thing.
It's over. It's done with. It's toast. Because now you prove you can get there. And in this world where they're trying to expand the playoff to 24 teams, because an 8-4 team can say, "Well, we made the playoff." No one, like, you go 8-4 and make the Music City Bowl. Everyone says get rid of him. That's why the coaches and all them want it. All it is about them. So if you become one of those programs that is profitable to them, that like you force your seat at the table, which Ole Miss has essentially done. Of course, you're going to get pushed back. Sark doesn't like the idea that Ole Miss is on the same competitive space as Texas. Does it have the same money? No. But in this world, you just got to know how to operate. Ole Miss is one of the most front-leading collectives and NIL schools, organizations out there. So, yeah, they whooped your ass. You're the one that's worried about transferable credits in 2026. Hey, buddy, I remember the days of transferable credits. I remember when the NCAA used to pretend that transferable credits and fairness and equitability mattered. Everyone is pre-portal today. William got it. Click it. Everyone, because at least then like it allows for negotiation power for players. It allows for schools to understand what's the true price point. And then you get to make hard decisions like, hey, is Princeville worth $1.6 million? And we can take that same money and spread it out and go get Blake Purchase, Jonathan Maldonado, Jordan Renaud, Michael Burrio. It's how you spend your money. Spend smarter, not more. And the problem is that, like, everyone still continues to push back against what this is now. Professional sports. They would keep wanting to pretend like there's some amateurism and this, that, and the other. What this needs is what this needs, and why the NCAA, the feckless organization that it is, tucked the tail between their legs in Pittsburgh and walked out, didn't even stay to listen, right? Because all they want to do is protect their power in their pockets. But the God's honest truth is they don't have any power. And if they try to exert that power arbitrarily, that doesn't hold up in court, as Ole Miss has proved and others have proved as well. So you ask me what's going to come of this? Some more attention-grabby headlines. People going, oh, what is going on? Nothing has changed that we didn't already know for 3 months. The only difference is that some FOI requests got granted, and people were able to say, well, I got it. They're being investigated. Ole Miss would see them in court if they tried to punish them in excess of any precedent previously set. And in a court of law, it's a little different than after the Sugar Bowl, as they set up camp for 6 years, had a predetermined outcome that they just worked towards and finally got. You see what I'm saying? It's different because the world is different. And the only ones that are trying to pretend like it's not are the dinosaurs in Indianapolis.
So I firmly believe that Ole Miss and its administration, led by Keith Carter, Director of Athletics, and Glenn Boyce, obviously wasn't here, but is very much aware of what happened. I personally believe that if it's anything over a fine, I think the administration at Ole Miss is going to fight like hell.
Yep.
Like, if you're talking like a suspension.
When he's saying a cuss word?
Well, that's more of a description than a cuss word.
It's more of a description than a cuss word.
My point I'm trying to make is if Pete Golding is levied to be suspended before insert game here, I just think you're going to see Keith Carter. I think you're going to see the administration led by Chancellor Glenn Boyce. I think they're going to fight very much so that doesn't happen. I just don't think it's going to be anything like in years past. And I'm not throwing shade at Ross Bjork, but if I heard once, I heard 1,000 times about we can't wait to tell our side of the story. I mean, for years, Ole Miss fans felt like he did not stand up for the university. That Jeffrey Vitter did not stand up for the university.
Jeffrey Vitter didn't do much of nothing, buddy.
I just think the administration they have now is much different.
Built. Ross, I've been really hard on Ross. He does deserve his credit for some things.
I'm talking strictly about NCAA.
That's what I'm saying. I want people to know this is not like I'm not dogging Ross. I'll dog Vitter all day because I just don't think he did anything of consequence.
No, I'm not going to dog Ross either.
I'm not but because I like Ross personally, he was good to me. I think he did some great things. But when it comes to this here, you're absolutely right. I remember sitting over there at Sports Information, just me and Ross, all my old podcasting stuff. We didn't have these little mics. I had 2 big old mics. We were talking. Finally going to tell this side of the story, and it was nothing. This is different. Why is it different? Number one, because Ole Miss doesn't have the wool pulled over its eyes in regards to its relationship with the governing body that is the NCAA. The NCAA is not in it to protect all of its member institutions from unfair play and bargaining. Its job is to protect its own self-interests, whatever that might be. And now leave that open to interpretation. So Ole Miss, knowing these things, is not doing anything outside of the rules or outside of what anyone else is doing and this, that, and the other. Was it bad form to, like, he signed financial grade aid papers. He was in class. Was it bad form? Sure, argue that all you want. I'd say at the end of the day, it's a cutthroat business. They got to win. Dabo was pissed that he got took on it. You know what I mean? And just like Dabo isn't used to the new culture of Ole Miss being able to do to him what Clemson was able to do against any of, quote, the second tier, even if you want to call Ole Miss part of the second tier like Ari did. Now he can't. Yeah. Now he all he can do is complain because he can't beat you where it matters, which is player procurement, player retention, player signings, winning on the field. Who's been a better program for the last 6 years, going back to your original point, Ole Miss or Clemson?
Yeah, I think the Rebels out. But
so
Clemson,
what do I think will happen?
Historically a blue blood. I mean, you know, I want to say this, and I'm not saying that the SEC is not.
Thank you to the cheesiest. Ben, congrats on the new. I'm not going anywhere. Talk of Champions, the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, Fleet of On 3. All of it stays the same, but I'm helping out my hometown newspaper, the New Albany Gazette, and I'm really excited to help them out and tell New Albany stories for the paper. So thank you for saying so. It was a unique opportunity granted by God, and On 3 has been amazing to me. So I'm not going to, I don't want people have been asking me that. Are you still? I'm like, nothing's changed. It's like adding something
Friday
else.
nights, a whole lot busier.
Friday night lights. I might get to go to East. I'll already be at the New Albany games anyway. I was already going to be there at the Friday night games. And, if New Albany played Tupelo, man, I could kill like 18 birds with one stone. You know what I mean? Like talking recruiting, podcasting, New Albany cover. So I'm really excited. It's a full circle thing for me because I never wanted to move back home. I've told you this. And years ago now I moved back. I'm in Oxford almost every day. And I cover Ole Miss sports, but it's been such a blessing from God to be back home. And my paper had it they had a need, so I'm excited to do that on top of. And it might not, who knows where it goes, but I'm excited for that, and I appreciate y'all. And all those who wanted to ask, I wanted to clarify something. I am not going anywhere. Spirit Ben stands still today. And Swayze, as I now echo, I heard my echo. I didn't realize how loud I was because now we're empty.
We're
here.
literally the only people in here.
We have locked the doors of Swayze Field. So after Ole Miss is picked as a 2 seed, getting away from football, he might get suspended again.
One more quick thing about football. My only request is that Ole Miss is treated as well as Georgia, Alabama, Florida, or insert team here from a conference standpoint. I'm not saying they're not. In regards to the NCAA, I'm not saying that the conference is not all behind Ole Miss and Commissioner Sankey is pulling the same rope as Ole Miss. I'm not saying that there's not channels underneath the table being talked about between Ole Miss and the conference office. I don't know that. I just want to say this. I want Commissioner Sankey and I want the SEC to treat Ole Miss as fairly as they would if we were talking about Alabama or Georgia or Florida. That's all I ask.
It ain't ever going to happen because everyone that wants objectivity and everything, decision making, coverage of politics, sports, what the heck ever. Ultimately, it's impossible. It's an impossible thing to be completely and totally objective, right? And one thing that is clear is that old biases die hard, even in a culture that's telling you what y'all are clinging to, the past, is ancient history. And now what you've done by not regulating what you were tasked with regulating, college athletics, what you've done is provided more power to the schools themselves to say, why are you here again? Who's more powerful? Mike Sheridan, or not Mike Sheridan, who leads the NCAA now? Not Charlie Baker. I don't remember who it was.
That tells you a lot right there. We don't know.
Or Greg Sankey. Now you could say, Greg, you need to be more public facing with I read today, Pete Nakos from On 3 had a great story previewing the Destin meetings.
And this is kind of to Titans. I don't think Sankey said this. I think it was an AD that said this. Or did Sankey
that's what Ole Miss is contending.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is contending. Ole Miss, bylaws have been violated. So are you asking if Ole Miss will defend itself? Just don't walk silently and carry a big stick.
We'll hear a lot whenever Commissioner Sankey comments on this.
But that's what I'm saying. What Pete was referencing was Ole Miss's belief and Ole Miss saying to Greg, not publicly, but saying, and if they have to go public, they will. If they try to overstep or overreach in regards to punishment or anything. I don't think Ole Miss is going to be content with any kind of punishment for tampering. Nothing. Even if it's just something as minuscule as one game for Pete. Ole Miss ain't gonna it ain't gonna go down without a fight. It's fighting now. That's my point.
It's just a very silent fight underneath. I mean, it's a non-public fight.
Like Pete Golding said at the Sugar Bowl in a press conference, somebody asked him some question about somebody saying something. He's like, I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Yeah, that was the exact words he used.
Outside this building, he's like I'm worried about us, this building, our people. It is quite literally that insulated now.
Yeah.
These are pocket multi-million-dollar corporations competing with each other at the highest level. When Ole Miss builds that entertainment district around Vaughn Hemingway Stadium,
it's with a B.
It's going to be billion with a B. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. This is different, bro. This is not just like, oh, our boys go out there and get them. No, this is big money, millions of dollars at stake, jobs. You like Ole Miss. Here's the thing, and we'll close it with this. Bring it all back around. It is objectively true that it is a failure to not be hosting regional baseball in Oxford, Mississippi. That is true. Ole Miss was built and is supposed to be a team that annually hosts regionals. Yep. That's true. But, like, this team was a success. The main thing is this shouldn't be empty this weekend. It should be packed, and the revenue it generates for the city is why people are most disappointed. Yeah, they wanted to watch a game in Oxford, but really it's what the regional represents, hosted in Oxford, Mississippi, for the local economy and the local community, more so than other places, more metropolitan places like Austin, right, in terms of what the games and playing and hosting means here. So if you try to screw with that, see you in court. You see what I'm saying? Because Ole Miss has its own interests to protect, including the entire local, economy and community for these games and stuff. It's not just about, well, you don't deserve a seat at the table anymore. You're taking money out of pockets. And when you start trying to take money out of pockets, it changes things. This is a money play from now on. And it's disheartening in some ways, but also at least it knows you what the fight is. Like the fight is happening. It's always happening. And while it's makes for salacious, fun, clicky headlines.
Yeah.
What has changed? Nothing.
And I can say this. If you think that Director of Athletics Keith Carter and Chancellor Glenn Boyce, along with the entire administrative team, are not fighting with the best interest of Ole Miss against whatever the NCAA brings for them, well, I've got some news for you. You're wrong. The university is going to fight because not only is it, in their eyes, unfair, the most important thing, I think, is this is a business. This is a huge corporation now with billions of dollars at play. And at the end of the day, NCAA is having selective enforcement. That's what this is.
The selective enforcement piece was a crux or backbone issue, a part of like in Ole Miss's appeal for his eligibility, Trinidad Chambliss' eligibility. That was part of it. That's why they were successful in Pittsburgh partially, is because of the crux of their argument being based on selective enforcement. What would this be then? This has been Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett. He's Brad Logan. That QR code's for the Ole Miss Spirit, ownspirit.com, affiliate of On 3. Sign up today. $1 for tries out for 5 days. Jake in the Ole Miss Spirit will be on hand in Lincoln, Nebraska for the Lincoln Regional. Yep, he'll be with us every step of the way. Brad and I will be doing shows. We got a lot of stuff planned. Thank you all so much for joining us every single day. 1,000 people watching live. So many comments. Mary and William, y'all are some of my favorites. Y'all are always there. Y'all always understand the assignment. And they're at the Ole Miss Spirit, and we want you there too.
I've got one quick thing. We've got a new sponsor that's jumped on board with us. We're excited to have Shed Hunger of Modern Woodman of America. He's located in Winona, Mississippi. Shed, we appreciate you, buddy. Go by and see him today in his office at 210 Summit Street there in Winona, or give him a call at 662-442-4723 and schedule an appointment today. That's, of course, Modern Woodman of America. Any type of financial need, give Shed a call today, 662-442-4723. There'll be more to come with a cool commercial, and we've got everything coming. Actually, it starts June the 1st, but we're going ahead and letting you know that Shed and his team are excited to help you from a financial standpoint. So thanks for joining us. And if you want to be a part of our team, just follow Spirit Ben on Twitter at Spirit Ben. I'm at Brad Logan, COTE.
What does the COT stand for?
Corner of the end zone.
Why don't you change that to
It's
Brad
just
Logan TOC?
It's just always been that.
But no one associates. There's just confusion. Brad Logan TOC. It's just as much yours as mine. We've been through this a million times.
Just let me know in the chat and shoot me a message on Twitter and X and let me know what you think. But anyway, that's just kind of where it's always been. Maybe I should change it.
What is the I'm not going to like to
that was my first blog, by the way.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. It was like Blogspot or whatever.
Exactly, it doesn't exist. So your Talk of Champions, Brad Logan.
Yeah.
I love
think
that.
he may have taught me into that.
I
So
hope
somebody's
so.
going to go out there and get Brad Logan TOC real quick.
Then like make like a dummy account to mess with you.
Yeah.
As long as they put
They
like
won't be the
really
first.
weird, like
Nobody gets smoked more than me, although it's not as bad as it used to be.
that is the most first of all, that's not true. How selfish are you that you think that you are special in the shit that you get from other people? Have you seen my mentions?
Yeah, you get popped pretty good.
Who cares?
I think we all do.
Be organically yourself. Be your honest, authentic self. That's what I meant. Be your authentic, honest self, and give glory to God, and you'll be fine. Who cares about your mentions?
By
My
the
gosh.
way, appreciate it, William. That interview with Ari, I took a lot of grief on the message board about that by getting him.
6 people didn't like you having him
No,
on.
it was a lot, but it was okay. I really
He's
enjoyed
great.
it, and I appreciate Ari coming on. Ari and obviously
Let me ask you a
had
question.
some difference of opinions from a lot of people. Didn't really answer about Trinidad, but I thought he was great.
Well,
I mean,
his argument was fair. First of all, it doesn't matter. They're listicles.
He said it was hard.
But like his argument was not that Trinidad wasn't elite so much as the difference between number 9 and number 11 is microscopic. Fair enough. I would just argue that he's not even 9. I would argue that he's like at worst 5.
Yeah.
But these are nonsense listicles. What I appreciated Ari breaking down was what I already thought to be true, but people call me a homer. And a lot of the lines I've used, including the piece about, the seat of the table or disrupting the all that came from that conversation. A lot of that came from that conversation. And I was really, which would you prefer, Ole Miss fan, to have Ari do that and not immediately ask him directly about it when you're mad and like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, they're like, why
are y'all going to confront him?
Yeah.
Are you going to confront him? Okay, no. Well, wait a second.
You giving him a platform? What are we doing? I mean,
You can't. You win some.
You
So
know.
I would simply say, we hear you. I get it. I feel you. We're only going to try to continue to be do the best job we can with Talking Champions to bring you to answer the questions that are on your brain every single day. Be where you want us to be, and Brad Logan at Brad Logan TOC is going to be the perfect place.
By the way, we've got Jake Crane coming up this week. We're going to have him today, and then we have the press conference, so we bumped him. So we'll have him later this week. Ben Ingram from the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. So excited about that. And we're going to talk Ole Miss, I promise. Not just going to be Atlanta Braves. We're going to talk about some Brave stuff.
Yeah,
because I'm
Ben
a huge
Ben
Braves
Ingram is an
homer.
Ole Miss rebel.
Yeah.
All right, and Ben Ingram is awesome. Not just at what he does. He's incredible.
And working on Enrique Davis, by the way.
Enrique, I got a text Enrique today. I always say Enrique because that's
Houston
such a
Nutt.
thank you, but like it's a deep cut joke now. People don't. A lot of people are like, why are you calling him that? Not a
Hey,
lot
talking
of
about
people.
Enrique Davis. Enrique
50
boy can run that
years.
ball.
Back-to-back cotton
50.
balls. Wasn't no
50.
49 and 10, was it, Neil? Wasn't no 49-10? Bragging about getting his ass beat, not by 49. Oh, my gosh. It's been Talking Champions. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, everybody.
We'll let you know about the time and the place. Be checking out the socials and all that in the Ole Miss Spirit. We'll see you then. Bye, bud. Bye, bud. I think I was talking to you.
Look at the field. Look at that.